Animal welfare organization NSPCA says the petition to ban pit bulls should result in a cohesive way to protect human and animal victims. That's after the death of a 10-year-old in Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape. The Sizwe Kupelo Foundation started the petition, which has now been signed by over 35,000 people. To talk about this some more, I'm joined from Johannesburg by Nazareth Appalsamy from the NSPCA. Nazareth, thank you so much for your time this evening. Let's start off by talking about this latest horrific case involving a pit bull and the 10-year-old who was mauled to death. The tragic part of it being that he was mauled by the two dogs owned by his family. That story on its own is quite tragic before we even start talking about the breed and the petition and whatever has followed. What do you know about this case specifically, if anything?
Good evening, Marcel. Thank you. Yeah, so we were made aware of the incident, and yes, a very tragic one. From what we understand is that the little boy was with friends, and we don't exactly know what happened, but we know that his own pit bulls turned on him and mauled him to death.
And from what you know about pit bulls, I know I've read up a lot about it. It's easy enough for a dog lover to say, like myself, you know, it's not the breed that is the problem, it's the owners that is the problem. But when it comes to pit bulls, it's not that simple, is it?
No, not at all. And I think it's an ideal opportunity for me to say that we have never said that we want the pit bull banned or any other breed. And I think we just want better laws pertaining to the owning of the breed. And I think that a lot of pit bull owners are up in arms because they've misunderstood the way we have relayed the message. And I want to reassure, it's not about banning any breed. It's about a responsible pit bull ownership and other breeds as well. And it's about protecting the breed and about protecting children and about protecting the vulnerable.
Now, I believe a pit bull is known as a power breed. As you said, it's not just about the pit bull, it's about other breeds as well. What do you know about the nature of pit bulls and these power breeds now that we're learning more and more about?
The pit bull was originally bred for fighting, and yes, there's a high level of aggression in some of them, but there are also pit bulls that are very they have very lovable, and there are many owners that can attest to that. But the one thing we have to remember is that the breed itself, and people have tried to eliminate the aggression by, socialization and by, just good training. The truth is that genetics cannot be untaught, and this is the truth. And I think that the breed itself is perhaps one of the most exploited breed in the world. And we talk about pit bulls. It's not just about attacks. We talk about the breed that is used for dog fighting in this country, which is ripe. And we talk about the breed where every single person out there wants the breed as a status symbol. A breed like the pit bull is an authoritative, a breed to some, and people think it's about a status symbol.
Yeah, and you're right about that, because you see the pit bull appearing in music videos in a certain way to bring across, as you say, this status or the position of power, as it were. And you see people walking around with them with heavy chains as if they're trying to make a statement. Now, pit bulls have been banned in countries like America, China and Russia, where they too had a very, very serious problem with dog fighting. You've acknowledged that we do have a problem with dog fighting in this country. Is it too late to try and regulate the ownership of pit bulls? Have we lost this fight already?
No, I don't believe. I think that this is why we support what the Sizwe Kupelo Foundation is trying to do. They are trying to advocate for the sterilization of animals. They They want animals to be microchipped. They want animals. They want stricter laws for the owning of power breeds. And I think that any pit bull lover out there, or any lover of a power breed, should not be against this petition, if that's what you want to call it. They should be for it, because it is not about just their animal. We have to think about all the animals out there, and the amount of animals that are just bred and sold for financial gain, the amount of animals that are used for dog fighting, and the amount of animals that are used just for shows, etc. So we have to look at the bigger picture. It's not just about, it's about protecting the breed.
I do understand you've said, based on that petition, it's about protecting the human and animal victims in this issue. And that's very true, isn't it? Do we, however, as a country, have the capacity, both with the resources of the NSPCA that you have, but I know that's always stretched as well, and then from government side as well, do we have the capacity to regulate the ownership of this specific breed and also other power breeds, as you've mentioned before?
So the SPCA, I mean, the mandate of the SPCA is the protection of animals and the welfare of animals. And certainly the SPCA movement in South Africa does not have the financial means or the resources to enforce such. And I think that this will rest on the state and the minister if they do incorporate a regulation for them to make laws as to who will enforce this.
Until a decision like that is come to, however, do you believe that there's a need for better education around what kind of animal people are either adopting or buying? I know we say hashtag adopt, don't shop, but a lot of people, especially if they're new to dog ownership, they don't really understand what that means. And like you said, if you're getting an animal for a status symbol, perhaps that's not the best reason to get a dog. How important is it for there to be better education around the different types of breeds that people are welcoming into their homes? For instance, I've got friends who own English bulldogs, but they knew that when they adopted English bulldogs, that will come with certain health issues at some stage to do with their nasal passages, and other dogs have other issues as well. Is there a need for that, more of that kind of education around power breeds?
Certainly believe so. So we always advocate for responsible pet ownership. So if you want to own a power breed, you got to make sure that you understand the breed, you have property that you can keep the animal, and you're going to give it the attention it deserves. So if you want to own an animal, you have to understand that it comes with a lot of you need to be responsible. You really need to be responsible.
Yeah, there's a lot of payoff. You get a lot of love in return, but responsibility is massive and lasts a lifetime, well, the lifetime of the dog anyway. Thank you so much for your time this evening. That was Nazareth Appalsamy from the NSPCA joining us virtually from here in Johannesburg. Very, very important work that their organization continues to do.